On this week's show, would you believe that you can have a roof on your RV that requires no caulking or maintenance at all and comes with a lifetime transferable warranty? It's true. And in our first story, we'll show you all about it. Next, we'll take you to California for a look at the Calaveras Big Tree State Park, another great RV destination. Later in the show, Jeff Johnston visits Truma and shows us all about the Truma VarioHeat unit he had installed in his camper. We'll wrap up the show with Kate Dunbar, the Campground Gourmet, as she prepares a one-pan Mediterranean chicken dish that's to die for. These stories and more on this week's RVing Today TV. Closed and Spanish captioning where available is sponsored by Trail Manor, one of the world's lightest and easiest towing travel trailers. If you own an RV, then you already know this. And if you're just buying an RV, you'll learn fast enough that one of the items in your RV that constantly needs checking and periodic maintenance is your RV roof. RV manufacturers use 2 or 3 types of roof materials, but they are all susceptible to damage and need constant inspection, caulking, and periodic maintenance. When it comes to RV roof repairs, the old saying goes, it's not a matter of if, but a matter of when. Now, what if I told you there is an RV roof system that's been around for a while that never needs caulking and is virtually indestructible? Well, there is, and it's called Flex Armor. Matter of fact, it comes with a lifetime transferable warranty. To learn more about Flex Armor, we found that New England RV Roof in Massachusetts was an authorized Flex Armor facility. So we paid them a visit to learn all about the product and how it's applied. To put things in perspective, don't confuse that Flex Armor roof with a typical roll-on or spray-on type coating. This is not a coating, but a roof in itself that is 3/16 of an inch thick, flexible, and virtually indestructible. The work involved in applying a Flex Armor roof is quite intensive, as Jim Conboy, co-owner of New England RV Roof, puts it.
You know, I'll have multiple employees working on a camper simultaneously. The biggest part of what we do is preparation. It's like the old auto body shop. 95% prep for 5% spraying.
The whole procedure starts in the prep bay, where air conditioners, vents, and just about everything on the roof is removed. At this point, the old rubber or other roof material is removed, and if any repairs are needed, they are taken care of at this point. The roof is completely cleaned. All the old caulking is removed prior to completely sanding and grinding certain areas for adhesion and for a nice smooth roof surface. When all this is done, the entire roof is chemically cleaned prior to starting the actual Flex Armor application. The coating process starts by spraying all around the antennas, vents, and hard-to-get-at areas, along with all the edges and seams. Once that's complete, the team starts spraying on multiple even coats of Flex Armor until they achieve that desired 3/16 of an inch buildup. You'll notice that the Flex Armor is built up around the antennas, vents, and seams, thus eliminating the need for caulking. How nice is that? Once the Flex Armor is set up, the last application is the latex polymer white UV coating. Once the polymer coating is dry, it's time for the final step of reinstalling all the components and accessories back on the roof. Of course, there were some proprietary procedures and things in this story we couldn't show or tell you about. But I hope we showed you enough to understand how Flex Armor is able to offer a lifetime transferable warranty. By the way, when it comes to maintenance of a Flex Armor roof, Jim Conboy sums it up very easily.
I hate to break the news to people. It's terrible. There's no maintenance. The only maintenance with these roofs is when it gets dirty, you wash it. You don't have to come to us for annual inspections. You don't have to go up there and look every 3 months to check your caulking. There is none. It is a seamless monolithic roof. It takes quite a while for it to get dirty because remember it's a latex polymer paint we put on. It takes quite a while for it to get dirty. You get a couple of good rains, it cleans itself. But it is a roof. So anything like Dawn, Simple Green, a soft scrub automotive brush, works just fine. And these are one of the few roofs that you can actually power wash if you want to. There's no caulking to disturb up there. You can blast away at it as long as you don't use the tornado bit on these things. But the same thing, having 32 locations nationwide, there is always some place to go if you run into that type of issue.
For more information on Flex Armor roofs and to find a location nearest you, visit RVroof.com. It doesn't matter what type, make, or size RV you own. What does matter to most RV owners is having an accurate holding tank monitoring system. And that's why more and more RV manufacturers are installing sea-level monitoring systems from Garnet Instruments. Why? Because it's the most accurate monitoring system on the market. It's easy to install, and it just simply works. Find out for yourself at RVgauge.com.
For RVers, the journey is all about freedom, adventure, and discovering what's around the next bend. But if a medical emergency happens, getting back can be complicated and expensive. That's where SkyMed comes in. With a SkyMed Takes You Home membership, you'll be transported to the hospital of your choice back home without worrying about the cost of medical transportation. Travel with confidence. Let SkyMed help bring you home when it matters most. Visit SkyMed.com today.
Today's Rollin' on TV Quick Stop, Calaveras Big Trees State Park. The scenic splendor here is incredible. Giant redwood and sequoia trees, wonderful hiking trails throughout the park, a great campground. It's a nice place to spend some time. Calaveras Big Trees State Park is located just 3 miles north of Arnold, California on Highway 4. The park is a magnificent display of the largest tree species alive today. The giant sequoia, closely related to the coastal redwood, is well named because it's big and it's the largest living organism on the planet. A quiet walk among these sun-dappled glades can soothe the soul and awaken the senses to this superb part of the natural world. Time spent casually wandering here is time well spent. A full-featured visitor center is on site to answer any questions about the facility. Tourist visits started here about 1850, and the park is as popular as ever today. Well-maintained trails and boardwalks make for easy walking access. There are numerous trails of varying difficulty, including wheelchair accessible, located throughout the park. Handy trail guides are keyed to numbered posts along the way so visitors can match the guide information to trailside features. The Big Stump, for example, was once used as a dance floor during the mid-1800s. The original tree was more than 280 feet tall and the stump was close to 25 feet wide. A fun walking path leads through the center of one of the fallen giants. It's definitely cooler in here on a warm day. The park's 2 campgrounds feature 120 sites. Many are tent only, but there's also room for RVs up to 30 feet long. Plan on making reservations well ahead of a visit. For more information about Calaveras Big Trees State Park, log on to our website.
If you're restoring, upgrading, or repairing your RV, there's only one name you need to know: RecPro, your one-stop location for virtually everything your RV will ever need. From furniture and appliances to air conditioners and awnings, RecPro has it all, and at great prices. Of course, there's one thing you can't buy there, and that is outstanding service. That comes free. Learn more at recpro.com.
Travel John Holding Tank deodorizer cleaners have been keeping campers happy since 1967, making it the oldest, most reliable solution for RV and marine holding tanks. Travel John packaging is attractive and easy to store for any size rig or scope of adventure. With nearly 100 years of experience, Century Chemical Corp is proud to offer outdoor enthusiasts across the world products that work anywhere, anytime. To learn more, call the number on your screen or visit centurychemical.com.
When we started to spec out our new Palomino camper, filling out all the blanks on the ordering sheet, We knew that there were a few items that we could improve on that normally come from the factory. Item number 1 on our list was the furnace. And in this case, the new Truma VarioHeat furnace is a high-tech alternative to the factory equipment. Now, the only thing that gives you a clue on the outside that there's something different going on is the combined air intake and exhaust port. And it's made out of plastic, part of it is anyway. And the reason they can do that is because it's a testimony to the VarioHeat's efficiency. Most of the heat is going inside the living space where it belongs. Very little of the combustion heat is coming out through the exhaust. We met up with Truma's Jonathan Ellis at the Truma headquarters, and he told us what the VarioHeat was all about.
Yeah, this is our compact furnace offering for the North American RV market. It's 11,500 BTUs and is propane fired. Don't let the BTUs scare you away. It operates very similar. It's about a 20,000 BTU furnace.
Oh boy.
Reason being, it's very efficient. So about 90% efficiency, and that 11,500 BTUs, it's not just our input BTUs, it's actually our output BTUs.
Oh, okay.
So we actually measure that a little bit differently than our competitor.
Okay, very cool. And I understand that it's the efficiency, what we expect out of a contemporary design product. It's very efficient for electricity and propane use.
Yep, it is. Yeah. So on propane usage, it's around 90% efficient.
Wow.
Compare that to your typical North American RV furnace in the high 60s.
This, as I understand, is a lot quieter, and it has different fan speeds instead of just one blowing speed.
Yep. Yeah. So there's 3 stages, 3 operating levels for heating, and then there's also an additional night mode. So when it's in night mode, it's actually going to maintain very quiet level, and that's generally used, once you're up to temperature, and just to maintain, and it's not going to have any of those big noisy. It's firing
Kick
up,
in
and then you're hearing it, and you wake up at 2 a.m.
Yeah, the dragon comes on,
and then it comes on again at 4
yeah.
a.m. and
Oh.
it's none of that. It's going to be a nice consistent sound, but also very quiet.
And one other item about this that matters is it's really lightweight.
Yeah.
Compared to, I don't know what the other furnaces on the market weigh, but this is something that if weight is seriously a concern for a smaller vehicle, this is a great option.
Truma's Senior Development Technologist Mike Schicker was on hand at the factory to help with the VarioHeat prototype installation in our Palomino. Space is tight in a truck camper, more so in a fold-down with minimal cabinet space, but they made it work with a clean, effective installation using just one interior heat vent.
We're at the Truma headquarters in Elkhart, Indiana. Behind me, the large white box is an environmental chamber. They can use this chamber for high and low temperature testing, high temperature for testing air conditioning units in RVs, and they can fit a full 40-foot motorhome in here, and low temperature for testing furnaces and so on. We're going to be pulling our truck and camper into the chamber. They're drawing the temperature back down, and we're going to see how well the VarioHeat heats up the inside of the camper at a really low outside temperature. Now, we may be able to draw it down to freezing, maybe 20 degrees, something like that. We're not going to take it all the way down to the well below 0 point that this chamber is capable of, but then most people aren't going to use a little camper like ours at well below 0. As soon as we get the unit in there, we get it down to some kind of cold soak, we'll be able to get some figures and show you how well the VarioHeat works. We're inside the environment chamber here at Truma, where we're drawing the temperature down for the truck and camper. After it's down to a certain point, we'll go inside, fire up the VarioHeat, and take some measurements to see how long it takes to bring it up to a comfortable point.
Wireless temperature and humidity monitors were positioned in several spots inside and outside the camper.
All right, so the highlighted sensors here are the sensors we have inside the RV. They're set up to take measurements once every minute, and they communicate wirelessly. So We actually receive the signals every 10 minminutes and it'll send all of the updated readings. So right now these sensors are reading about between 45 degrees and 47 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so after about 15 minutes, the temperature has risen to about 72 degrees Fahrenheit inside. It started out about 45 degrees Fahrenheit, so after 15 minutes we're seeing a delta in the temperature of about 27 degrees, and obviously it'll keep heating up as we run it longer.
The temperature outdoors in the environmental test chamber is now down to about 32 degrees approximately. Here inside the camper, the VarioHeat has been running for about 40 or 45 minutes, and it's anywhere between 75 to 80 degrees approximately. That's somewhat warmer than most people are going to have the inside of their living space on a regular basis. But it just goes to show it pulled it up from that freezing point fairly quickly. And it's also fairly quiet. And right now, the VarioHeat runs on about 3 different heating or fan speed levels. Right now, it's running at the highest speed. We kicked it up on the thermostat to be able to illustrate this is as noisy as it's going to be. Usually, especially at night in the night mode, when it runs a little bit slower and quieter, it's not going to be waking us up when we're trying to sleep up here. Sounds pretty efficient. It feels good. It smells good in here. We don't have any of that new furnace, burning smell that you get in some vehicles or some furnaces when you first start them up. So we'd say the VarioHeat is a success and highly recommended.
To learn more about the VarioHeat, log on to our website at RVingToday.tv.
Want more RVing Today? Then visit RVingToday.tv. Besides our weekly show and extended segments, you'll find additional stories and videos along with insightful information on what's new and what's happening around the world in RVing. From luxury RVs to unique camper vans, and from RVing with pets to RVing with kids. You'll find it all and more in RVingToday.tv.
For RVers, the journey is all about freedom, adventure, and discovering what's around the next bend. But if a medical emergency happens, getting back can be complicated and expensive. That's where SkyMed comes in. With a SkyMed Takes You Home membership, you'll be transported to the hospital of your choice back home without worrying about the cost of medical transportation. Travel with confidence. Let SkyMed help bring you home when it matters most. Visit skymed.com today.
Today, I'm teaching you a cast iron Mediterranean chicken meal. This is something that's going to have your friends and families craving for seconds, so you better make extra. And I love to use chicken thighs when I'm cooking with cast iron, especially at the campground, because it's dark meat. And if you cook it a little bit longer than you're supposed to, maybe, you've had an extra cocktail, or maybe a kid's learning how to ride a bike, with dark meat, it's okay. You've got this window where it's still gonna be flavorful and tender and juicy. And what I wanna do is take some olive oil and just drizzle it over the top, maybe about a teaspoon per chicken thigh. Now just turn it over, rub each piece around in the olive oil, because you want all the spices and seasonings to stick right on the skin and not get left all over the piece of parchment paper here. I've mixed up a seasoning blend with rosemary and dried lemon, oregano, salt, pepper, a little bit of red chili flake, and some garlic powder. Those great Mediterranean flavors. And I'm just gonna sprinkle it over the top. Now we're gonna flip these over, because we want our chicken to be seasoned on both sides. We have our chicken seasoned and oiled. I have all of the vegetables all chopped, and my fire, it's ready. So let's move on over there and get to cooking. Okay, so here I am over my hot fire. Oh my goodness, this is screaming. And that's exactly how you need this fire to be. Have your tongs ready, your chicken's already seasoned, and we've got our olive oil. We're gonna add in about 2 tablespoons to it. It's already bubbling away. There we go. It's bubbling and sizzling away. We're gonna put the chicken in skin side down, place it in the oil, and then bring it out to the side and just leave it alone. So I want to let this go for about 3 minutes. I don't want to touch it. I want that skin to start to crisp and brown, and then we're going to turn it over and do the exact same thing on the other side, about 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, it's been about 3 minutes. All I can smell right now is olive oil and rosemary and oregano and pepper and that dried lemon peel. That's the trick here. You don't want to add fresh lemon zest to this. You want to add the dried because the fresh is going to have too much moisture in it and too many oils, and those can burn. But with the dried lemon peel, it's perfect. Because remember, these are just seared. These are not cooked all the way, these chicken thighs. And I want to remove them and just set them aside for a few minutes. So now let's get ready to add in our onions. I have 1 chopped onion here, large chunks, nothing small. So I've got the onions going. Now it's time to add in the potatoes. Now remember, I've par cooked these. If you cook them to the point where they're just fork tender, take them out of the boiling water and let them cool. Then all you have to do is put them into a container or a Zip-Top bag and get it into your freezer, and then you can take it to the campground and they're practically cooked. It's a way of saving time. All right, next we're gonna add in our green beans. I love these are fresh. I picked them up at a farmer's market. Now let's add in a pinch of our seasoning, because you wanna season as you go. Let's add in 2 fresh sprigs of rosemary. It's totally optional. Well, I'm gonna let this cook for about 5 minutes, and then we're gonna add the chicken back in and a couple other ingredients and finish this dish. All right, let's add back in that chicken. Okay, let's just nestle that right in. Now, since we've already seared it, it only has about 20 minutes more to cook. So this is a meal that you can have ready in about 40-45 minutes for your family. Now let's add in our other ingredients. I have some fresh tomatoes. These are whole little cherry tomatoes. I'm just gonna sprinkle these over the top. I've got some sliced, and the pits have been removed from these Kalamata olives. I'm gonna sprinkle these over to the top. This is definitely a Mediterranean addition to your meal. And I have 3 cloves of garlic that I've chopped. Why am I adding it now and not at the beginning? Well, that olive oil was really hot in this pan, and there was a chance that the garlic would burn, and that would add a tremendous amount of bitter flavor. We don't want that. And I'm adding in about a 1/2 cup of chicken stock. Now, if you want to add some additional flavor, add in about a 1/4 cup of white wine and then a 1/4 cup of chicken stock or water. It's whatever you choose, and this will just help everything cook. All right, 10 minutes has passed. Everything is bubbling away. Let's give it a good stir, and then we're gonna let it go another 10 minutes, and then it's gonna be time to eat. I'm gonna add in some fresh chopped parsley, just for a bright green flavor. And then to finish off that Mediterranean flavor, I'm gonna add in some feta cheese. Now, you don't have to if you don't want to, but it just adds a really creamy texture, and it's a little salty, and it's just perfect. It gives it a nice pop with that bright white. I think it's fantastic. Let me cut off a little bit of this chicken here. It's so soft and tender. And remember, that skin on top is nice and seared, and it stayed beautiful and golden. Oh my gosh, that's so good. The oregano, the rosemary, the chili flake, the pepper. I'm getting that saltiness from the olives. This is fantastic. I'm gonna try the olives and potatoes next. Okay. There's something about a Kalamata olive when you cook it with a dish like this. It still retains some of that texture bite that it has. It doesn't get soft and just kind of fade away. It stays there. It's a great bite for you. I'm Kate Dunbar, the Campground Gourmet. Thank you for joining me today for this cast iron Mediterranean chicken meal. Keep cooking great memories, and I will see you at the campground. Bye.
For more information on anything you saw on this week's episode, along with additional videos, interesting stories, and RV news, visit our website at RVingToday.tv. This has been another fun production.